Hello there, welcome to my channel. My name is Nyawira Mwendwa and today I am joined by the lovely lady Muthoni. Welcome to my channel.
Thank you.
Can you introduce yourself? Tell us all about Muthoni and what you do.
My name is Muthoni. I am an advocate of mental health, and I run a platform where I talk about childhood traumas and everything else about childhood traumas. I love burgers. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, I love burgers.
Yeah.
Yes. I am a wife and I am a mother.
Oh,
Yes.
karibu sana.
Thank you.
Let's start from the beginning. What is childhood trauma?
Now, childhood trauma can be explained in simple terms. It's an event or an experience that happened to a child.
Okay.
And a child, we mean 0 to 17 years. That was too hard for them to cope with. And something to note about childhood traumas, it's a very personal thing. And this is what I mean. If you can grow up in a family that one child is traumatized by one thing and the other one isn't traumatized.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now that we've understood what trauma is, childhood trauma,
Yes.
where does it come from?
We can put some classifications into childhood traumas, and we call it ACEs, ACES. And that is, it can come from abuse. It can be psychological, it can be physical. Let me explain in simple terms as we go on.
Yeah.
Psychological is where a child is manipulated by the caregiver. Caregiver can be the parents, a household.
Yeah.
It can be like the kids taken to daycare. It can be any adult taking care of the child.
Okay.
So when we talk about psychological abuse, is the manipulation that is done to the child. For example, you've given a child, let's say a biscuit. So when they are eating, you tell them now, the reason you're growing fat is because you're eating biscuits, but you're not giving them a biscuit.
I get it.
So they end up not understanding why the situation is like that.
Yeah.
Another type of abuse is physical, and to explain in a better way, because you have to streamline your children anyway.
Yeah.
But in a better way is where the punishment goes beyond the reason of being punished. So you beat the child more, so they end up having bruises. They have broken limbs or just any pain and blood showing. So that is what we can say is physical abuse. Sexual abuse is anyway, a child should be protected. So if there's anything physical, and physical doesn't have to mean that it was penetrative. It can be just being touched in an awkward, inappropriate way to a child, and it can happen to either a boy or a girl. Now, from the abuse, we can go to dysfunctional homes. Now, dysfunctional homes is where we have like one of the parents went to jail. It can be parents who are addicted to drugs or to alcohol. And then we have another classification where we talk about neglect. Neglect can be physical, where the child doesn't have food, doesn't have medication, doesn't have a place to sleep. They're neglected. Yeah. And they can also be neglected emotionally. A simple example is where you are a good employee in your place, and you as a couple, the other person is also very busy in the business. So you leave the kids to handle themselves. Okay. That means you're never there for the child. You don't know what they're doing. You don't know the type of life they have. You don't know their friends. You don't know what they like. Like if you are given your child today and they told you who they are, you would be surprised. Yeah. Because you don't have time for them. There is no nurturing. Okay. Yes, so that is how we can explain about where childhood traumas come from.
Wow. Then how does it manifest in adulthood?
What childhood traumas do, they create a lack of safety in a child. So a child grows up believing they are not safe because probably they were abused. That wasn't safe. They saw domestic abuse. It wasn't safe. And traumas can come from something happening to the child, or not happening to a child, or happening to an adult in a home. For example, if the mother to this child is being abused by the father, it has not gone to the child, but the child can see what is happening to the mother. So it also makes them feel it is a very unsafe place for them. So even when they grow up, what happens is they replicate what happened when they were children. Yeah, so that is why you find we have people who are abusers, and yeah, we are in a month where we create domestic violence awareness.
Yeah.
So you see people who are abusers because they saw a parent or a caregiver beating another adult in that home. Or we can have the victim. The victim is the person who grew up seeing the other parent who was being abused doing nothing. So they were like, this is the only situation I have. I can't do anything about it. So I will just accept I am a victim. So that is what happens. Now, if they grew up being abused emotionally or psychologically, they may end up doing the same to other people. And you can see it with their peers. And especially when you're an adult, you will notice people who had childhood traumas, they can be very manipulative. Because probably that is what they saw when they were growing up.
Yeah.
They don't know how to handle outbursts. They usually have a lot of outbursts. Like when they are very angry, they will let it out on anyone without even thinking. They will be, if they are a victim, they will be in a situation and they'll be very passive of the situation. For example, you are at work, you've been given work for a different person, but since you grew up being the victim or seeing a victim mentality, you will never imagine that you can go to that boss and tell them, this isn't my work. This is another person's work. This is the work that I'm supposed to do according to the agreement we had. So they can be passive. They also end up in with people who are very abusive because probably that is what they saw in their homes. So if they were in a home where there was abuse, they will go and get relationships where there is abuse because that feels home for them.
So
anything, it's crazy.
Oh my goodness! I know, I'm getting it. Yeah. So and do they know they're in that condition?
They don't, because now as a child, as an adult, you replicate what you saw. So if your father was abusive, you will end up looking for a husband who is abusive without you knowing. If your father was let's say, if your mother, let's use the mother now. If your mother was very manipulative and you are a guy, you will get to be in a relationship with a woman who is very manipulative. So it happens automatically without you thinking because you're looking for a home. So if a home for you as a child felt unsafe, you will feel home with an unsafe relationship. That is why you see a lot of codependency with people, because that is what feels familiar with them. So if you had childhood trauma when you were growing up, what happens is you grow up physically, you can grow up spiritually, but mentally and emotionally you will not grow up. Now, as a child, when these things were happening, you didn't have the skills to understand that there are many other things that could be causing an issue. So when you're an adult and you are faced by a challenge, you will be thinking like that child. Because we get stuck when the bad things happen in our lives. So if you were abused when you were 5 years, you get stuck in that place where you felt helpless. Yes. You'll be tackling things as a child even when you're an adult.
Yeah, because they were not resolved.
They were not resolved, there was no support, there was nothing. So you actually grew up with that mentality of a child. So you're an adult, but you're thinking like a child. That is why you see a lot of people who are adults, but they are behaving like children. Have you ever heard of a comment like, uko na utoto?
I know, you're looking at someone, how old are you again? As in, how do you think like that?
Exactly.
Oh, interesting. Then now this childhood trauma that comes to manifest in adulthood. What are the effects in terms of parenting, relationships, your body, your mind? Maybe walk with us that journey.
What happens with childhood traumas, a lot of things change in your brain. I will not go into the jargon of explaining all that. But now what happens is the perception is changed. And they create that perception that the world is a very unsafe place. In relationships, you will end up looking for an unsafe person. Because that is what
Or you're always finding yourself dating a particular person. Is that the same?
That is it.
Yeah.
That is it. Because you're looking for something that is familiar with you, not realizing that it's actually bad for you to be looking for that person. Like, for example, if you've been dating an abusive person, you'll be like, this is not safe, I need to go. Now, you will break up and go away from that relationship. But even before, if you don't work on yourself, you'll find yourself in another abusive relationship. Because the characters you're looking for are the familiar characters. Yes.
Okay. Wow.
Yes.
I get
And
it.
people don't really understand that.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, in parenting, it's the same thing. And I'll give you an example.
Yeah.
If you are beaten really much, like we were saying, physical abuse, that didn't go with the punishment you needed to be given as a child, you will have children and you'll be like, if I was beaten that much, I'll never beat my child.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, whatever was done to me will never happen to my child.
Yeah.
If you grew up neglected, you didn't have food, you didn't have all those things that you needed to be, that is where you find people buying 6 types of clothes, but different colors. Everything is the same. Because they're like, I didn't get this. My child will get all of this.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is not even necessary because, to be honest, buying 6
so
pairs. Exactly, buying 6 pairs.
They're not even wearing it.
They will not even. So you end up misusing money and misusing resources.
Because you're filling a gap. You're trying
to fill a gap. Exactly. And that is what happens with parenting. Because if you grew up without your parent around or a caregiver, because parents could be very far from where you are.
Yeah.
If they didn't take care of you, you'll overdo it with your children.
Yeah.
So you'll be like, I will take my child to school, I will pick them from school, I will take them for lunch, I will make sure I don't miss any of these things. So you get so engrossed. And with that kind of things, what happens is you actually end up feeling like you own that child.
Okay.
So the child will be doing something and you're like, but I've been doing these things for you. Yeah, you get so engrossed.
Yes.
Because you're like, I will never give my child the type of life I had. It sounds so familiar.
Wow, it does. Oh my goodness.
Yes, it sounds so familiar. So if you went to a school where there was abuse, and probably it was a public school, you'd be like, I'll never take my children to public schools. In public schools, people get abused, so I will take them to a private school. Or probably you got physically or sexually abused in an activity. Probably, let's give an example of swimming, in a swimming activity. So maybe you were abused by the coach. You'll be like, my children will not go for swimming. And you're not doing that because they don't want swimming.
No.
You're doing that because you were abused during your swimming activity. Yes.
So it may end up affecting your children.
It will definitely even you. Because now what happens is when you do all these things trying to fill a gap, you will end up owning the children.
That's true.
And to be honest, children grow.
They grow and they'll leave you.
And they will leave you. Yes, like let me give you an example. Like I have a 10-year-old who's given me 3 years to hug him and stop.
What?
Yes, that is how fast they grow.
Oh my god, 10. Only 10. Wow.
Yeah, so that's what I mean. You end up holding too much and clinging.
Actually, we do.
Yes.
We cling, by the way.
It is very familiar with mothers because anyway, there's never a formula. So we end up doing things and you're like, oh, it shouldn't be done like this. Yeah.
Something I've even thought about an example, like how we used to be disciplined. You know, the way our mothers used to beat us right, left, center, you know. And somehow, is it okay to say sometimes we fall back to what we used to see our parents do?
Exactly. We become our mothers.
We become our mothers.
Yes.
So
because that is what is familiar with us.
Exactly. Tell us some of the symptoms of childhood trauma. Maybe even now in adulthood. We are friends, but you can see you are going through some trauma and maybe you don't know. What are some of those symptoms that you
one of them is low self-esteem.
Oh, really?
Yes, because as we said, when you were a child, no one was there for you.
Okay.
So, and if something happened to you, as a child, you actually imagine these things are happening to you because of you. So if your parents were fighting, you'll be like, probably if I wasn't born, they wouldn't be fighting. Okay. Probably if I didn't go to school that day, wouldn't have been abused. So they end up thinking they are the problem. So this thing doesn't change. They will grow up as adults and they'll be blaming themselves for things happening around. So they'll be called for a meeting at work because they didn't perform, and they'll be like, I wish I didn't go to work that day. Maybe I shouldn't have been called. Not realizing you can actually go and ask for help when you need help.
Really?
Yeah. Another thing is outbursts.
Okay.
You'll get people who, if they go through emotions, they have outbursts.
Okay.
So if it's something that is exciting, they get overexcited. If it's something that is really bad, they shift to the other side. There's never a balance, because when they were children, no one was there to regulate them when there was a bad thing happening.
Okay.
So they go to the extremes. Another thing is abusing drugs. So you'll find people who are very addicted to things. And let me just say addictions. And addictions can come from drugs, from porn, can come from the phone. Anything that is making you go away from your problem. And it can even be church, actually.
Oh, really?
Yes, you end up, because you are a Christian, and what we are told is church is a safe place for you to take your problem. So since you don't know how to handle your problems since you are a child, you take them to church. So you're like, let me go and pray because my husband is very abusive. God is going to save me, not realizing you can actually step out of your house and go. You don't need to be fasting and praying in church. So addictions can be anything. It can also be just watching movies all the
around
time.
the clock.
Yeah, exactly.
You're not productive.
You're not productive.
Okay.
And this happens when you are faced by a challenge.
Oh, okay.
Because you don't know how to handle challenges. So you will be looking for an escape. So people who are addicted are actually looking for escapes.
Okay.
So if you are an adult who does a lot of escaping, you need to look back where you come from.
Yeah. Okay. What of anxiety?
Anxiety is also one of the another thing, because as we said, as a child who's been traumatized, you don't know how to regulate your emotions or your nervous system. So anything you come across, and this shows up actually in challenges, you get stressed and you'll be anxious. Another one is looking for validation. When you grew up in a home where there was no appreciation, there was neglect. So like you did very well in school, but no one noticed.
Okay.
Or probably you were neglected emotionally. There was no one available emotionally. So when you're an adult, you will be looking for that in adults. Like you're looking for validation. Please tell me I am doing okay. Please tell me I am good. Please tell me you love me. Affirmations. Right? Yes. So you keep looking for them. Another thing is not being able to set boundaries.
Okay.
Because you're like, I was abandoned. I don't want this person to go, so I will do anything. So if it is in a relationship, you will be like, this guy, I don't want him to go. Ulikuwa unataka nini? Ni sawa. You are in Moranga. Person is in Nairobi. They want something. You know you cannot deliver. But you'll be like, I will do anything to make sure this person gets what they want. So that they don't abandon me. Now that is the part that people don't know. I am doing this so that I don't feel abandoned. Another thing is fixing people. The people fixer. In short. And this can show up even in friendships. So you'll be fixing people. Nani, you have a problem. Do you think I can help you work with your problem? I think Nani needs to see a doctor. Can we call a doctor? If you're in a relationship, you'll be fixing your wife or your husband. Okay. Because you're like, I think what my partner is lacking ni shule. So nikimlipia hii course, atakuwa poa and our relationship will be thriving.
Wow.
Another example, I think ile kitu my partner is lacking ni viatu. And probably your partner doesn't put on heels. But you're like, but nikimvalisha heels, atakuwa very admirable to me, and our relationship will be thriving. So you're trying to fix her so that you will be okay. That is kind of manipulative.
It is. because you haven't asked them, would you feel comfortable?
Exactly. So you're like, even if you ask them and they tell you no, they will be like, but I think you will be looking good when you have the heels on.
Oh my.
It shows up in so many ways.
Yeah.
So those are some of them.
Interesting. Yeah. Okay. What's the healing journey in terms of now? Even us as parents, I think let's start from the children. We are parents.
Yes.
How can we know our children are in trauma and how can we help them? That's one. And then the second one is now to us adults. How can we be helped in terms of the healing journey?
Wow. Now, healing for our children. This is what I will say. Children's behavior is an explanation of what is happening in their lives.
Okay.
So if you used to a child not bedwetting and they start bedwetting, that is a sign something is happening. If they were never aggressive and all of a sudden they are aggressive, that is another thing. If they were very good feeders, all of a sudden they have become very poor, that is another thing. Okay. And there is no good formula of saying this is what you can look out for your children, because they'll be showing in so many ways. This is what I usually give as an example. When you're dating someone, you need a connection. You'll be going for dates, you'll be asking for what they like, you'll be showing up for them. That is what should happen with children. And it needs, if you have 10 children, it should happen for every child. Date them, in quotes, because they need connection. Because now with a good connection, they will be having a safe attachment style. And what that means is they'll be able to connect well with even the people around them. They won't be feeling unsafe. With connection and creating support, you're able to heal them or to take them through the healing journey. Now, as adults, when you've been when you realize you've had childhood trauma, first of all, you will be shocked.
I know.
You'll be shocked because you're like, wait, so you mean this?
Exactly, like you were just talking, I'm like, oh my goodness, I think I've walked through enough trauma.
And to be honest, I think all of us have had childhood traumas.
Yeah, one way or another.
In one way or another. Now, healing journey now is crazy. Because what happens is you have to get re-traumatized for you to heal.
Okay.
For example, if you were abused, sexually abused as a child, you have to go through that in your mind for you to get to the other side. There is no other way about it. When you go through childhood traumas, since you don't have the skills and there is no support around you, you put it somewhere, you lock it somewhere in your head. You lock it and you're like, I don't know what to do with this. It is very unfamiliar. I have no idea how to handle this. So what do? Push it back and try and deal with whatever is manageable for you. Now, if you need to unlock from there behind, you have to get traumatized. So it will be messy. Because now you are an adult. It will be messy. But the beauty is, on the other side of messy is healing. And what children who are traumatized weren't told is, it wasn't your fault. You are a child. You are supposed to be taken care of. You are supposed to be treated like a child. There was nothing wrong that you did. It wasn't because of you. Because children believe things happen because of them. You have to keep reminding yourself, it wasn't my fault. You have to keep reaffirming yourself. You needed support as a child. And I'll give you an example. If a 5-year-old child came and told you today I was sexually abused.
Oh my.
Mtoto wako, imagine mtoto wako. It's heartbreaking.
It is heartbreaking.
If mtoto wa sistako came and told you, auntie, jana mama alichapwa sana na dad. Na hiyo ilinipea stress. What would you do?
Oh Lord.
I can already see that.
Oh God. Can't even imagine what I start to do, you know?
It's crazy. So even as an adult, you will start thinking like it is your child telling you, so that you start the healing journey. You talk to yourself like you're talking to a friend. If your friend came and told you, by the way, jana usiku bwanangu alinichapa. You will not be up and I'm telling you ulikuwa unafanya nini? Mbona ulikuwa unaka kwa hiyo bomb? Exactly. You will be very kind to her.
Yeah.
It is the same thing you should do to yourself. Be kind to yourself. And try and reason like you're reasoning with your friend.
Okay.
That way, because what happens with childhood traumas, the self-talk is very negative. You will be blaming yourself. So instead of blaming yourself, talk to yourself like you're talking to a child. Another thing you can do is familiarize yourself with the trauma. Okay. And the information is out there. Yeah. We have podcasts, we have YouTube videos. Yeah. Even in the net, you can get so much information out there. Yeah. Lastly, as we talk about healing, is seek out for therapy. Okay. We have people who are professionals. When you seek for professional help, you're able to heal in an easier way than when you're doing it alone. Yes, for sure. Because what happens is you get triggers. Triggers are crazy. Wow. Because now they take you back. Yes. And if you didn't have any skills to handle that, you have not developed up here to handle them right now. So you'll be behaving the same way you behaved then. Yeah. But when you're dealing with a therapist, they're able to notice when you're going back. Okay. And they're able to tell you, napana, unarudi sana. Come deal with it from here. You're an adult. Actually, my therapist used to tell me, you're not a child. Come back. You are no longer a child. Yes. Can you leave that child there and come here? Yeah. Let's deal with it here and help that child. Wow. Alright. So yeah, seeking therapy helps a lot. And I'll give an example. Yeah. If you had a childhood trauma that involved you losing a parent because they died, in the same home, you will find one of the children, like a sibling, will be doing very okay. Like they're like, she died. There is nothing. Can we move on with life? Yeah, I know. We cried. We did everything. Now this is what we can do right now to deal with whatever happened when she died. Yeah. But and then you are a different child who is like, my mother died. Yeah. How will I survive? What am I gonna do about it? Okay. She was doing everything for me. What do I do right now? So you'll be like, I am helpless. And one of your siblings is like, say, unabaki nyumba. What is happening? Wow, interesting. Yeah. So it's very it's very diverse. Yeah. So you can seek help actually. If you want to reach out, I'm available on social media. You can find me on Instagram, Muthoni's Chat House 254, or my personal account, Muthoni Kana. You can find me on Facebook with the same names, Muthoni's Chat House or Muthoni Kana. I am on TikTok as well, Muthoni Kana. Alright. So yeah, reach out. I am available. I can help you make steps. Yeah, and see how we can heal each other. Yeah. Thank you. Wow. Thank you for your time, Muthoni. Thank you.
I just love the way you were giving examples, and I could feel myself in some of those examples, and I bet you all related to what she was talking about, and I hope you've learned and relearned and get help. She's shared her social handles. If you have any questions, anything that you want to know, please reach out. She'll be there to answer your question. Allow me to read a quote even as we conclude. It says that, heal so you don't have to give a sarcastic tone to uplifting messages. Heal so you never have to make anyone else the object of your own frustration. Heal so when someone tells you they love you, then you allow yourself to believe them. Oh wow. Yeah. So God bless you. Until we meet again, it's bye-bye. Bye-bye.